I'm also surprised to know I actually have Grandma's peanut brittle recipe. And this video is going to be chaotic. It's 12:20 in the morning. I have class at 11 a.m. But I wanted to make some peanut brittle. So, two things. This recipe actually has a temperature, and I have a candy thermometer. I got it for Christmas, because there were some people in my family, namely my parents, who were like, you should have good cooking utensils. So I now have a candy thermometer and a temperature to record to. And I'm only going to be halving this recipe for two reasons. One, because I don't know how much this is going to make. And second of all, it requires me to put it out on a surface. I need to get butter out. It requires me to pour it out on a surface and use my hands. And I don't want to, like, make the entire recipe and not have enough room because I only have my counter. I only have my counter space, obviously. So vibes are all over the place. I don't care. I wanted to do something. I've been really upset because I haven't really found the time to do these as often, just because school happened and I wasn't sure what my schedule was. And things are probably going to change on my end. I don't know how much it'll change for you guys, but just because I work later all the time and class. So I'm going to try and do a video a week, but if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and I'm going to stop apologizing for it. Let's get started. All right, here we go. So the first thing we need to do is, again, I'm halving this recipe, so the measurements I say out loud are not the right thing. 3/4 cup of sugar. I am listening to music, so if there is some dancing and jamming, that's just the way it's going to be. Oh, this is a lot. I'm glad I've decided to halve this. All right. Next we need, my brain is like, how do you number? Do I not have an 1/8 of a teaspoon? Well, that's half of a quarter, so it's fine. An 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. That's about right. This is a really awkward outfit because I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I have a tank top underneath, wearing shorts, and I have like sit down. So you slung socks on. So we did the sugar, did the salt. I'm gonna do half of this bag, which I'm gonna guesstimate is about This also means if this goes terribly wrong tonight, I can try it again tomorrow. 1.5. That would be, shoot, because it's 1 1/4, so that turns out to be a little less than 2/3. So we're just gonna do 2/3 for that. If it's a little sugary, it's fine. It's terrible for me, but it's fine. All right, so that's all the ingredients because we don't add the 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda until this is all mixed together, which is at 300 degrees on our candy thermometer. This song is sad. All right, here we go, ladies and gents. And is there a gender-neutral term that's like ladies, gentlemen, and boys, girls, non-binary, pals? Let's go. Interestingly, Grandma Marguerite did say to stir, so I was right. You always stir your candy recipes. We'll need this. Time to add oh, this is not gonna handle. Because you don't want it touching the bottom of the pan. That'll just give you the reading at the bottom of the pan. You want it up a little bit. I know it's probably more interesting to see if you guys see this temperature, but I need to be able to read it so I don't break it. Oh, so basically we go up to hard crack, which is 300 degrees, and then we pour it over. That's pretty typical. I feel like I was about to make an anime reference, so I'll just get our 1/2 baking soda ready. Come on. We are approaching 225. The only thing you missed is me wasting 1/2 stick of butter by putting it over my counter and feeling stupid. I'm reaching 250, reaching hardball. We're trying to get to hard crack. If you don't know what that is, link in the description on how candy works. And then you can be amazed that I've been doing this without a candy thermometer. I could turn the heat up and make this go faster, but I don't want to risk it. I like this steady progression, so I'm not stupid all the time. One, the instructions on the original that I didn't write down for the sake of space was like, when it smells like peanuts, that's when you take it off. It's like, okay. You can't even hear the music, and it's not gonna sync up with the music I have, so. It's so tempting to turn the temperature up, but no. I will resist the temptation and let it heat up naturally. Naturally. We're approaching soft crack, which is like slightly above hard ball. Alright. Remove from heat. Add baking soda. Oh. That's a color. Alright. Come on. Oh, I'm so glad I did half of this recipe. It's hot. Perfect. Now I'm supposed to do this while it's hot, but I'm not gonna ruin my hands for this. If you ever wonder where all my money goes, it's mostly just butter. Ah! Compromise. Because you are supposed to use your hands, but I can't. It's too hot. The burn count is going to go way up after this. Ah, there's one. Grandma Marguerite, why'd you ever do this with your hands? Sorry for the framing. Time is of the essence. Because I need to work with it, but it... I'm panicking, can you tell? This is insane. Why did she was like, yeah, just use your hands. The one thing we don't want is clumps like this over here. Like all this. It's like working with a hot glue gun, you know, where like you're like, I'm not gonna burn my hands this time. I'm using like my nails, but like you inevitably do burn your hands. It's like that constantly. I've lost track of how many times my hands have gone, ow, don't. This is so counterintuitive. Because it's hardening, that's the thing. You gotta work. My impatience has met its match. Burns. I can feel it on all these fingers right here. See, it's already solid. Careful, it's hot. Yeah, no. Well, I think we have... Oh, nope. We've missed our opportunity to stretch it lacy thin. Because it's just going to do that. And bigger chunks like these are already cool enough that they're just going to break. Ooh, maybe not. The music I'm listening to is pure chaos, so that's probably not helping. Okay. I don't think this is a fail. I just think this is underestimating the recipe. And the absolute badassery of Grandma Marguerite, who's like, yeah, it's hot, you know, you just mess with it. I'm too delicate. My whole major's on computers. How am I supposed to do this, Grandma Marguerite? Yeah, this is already done for. Trying to do at-home workouts. Forget that. Just need to bake every day. Come on. My fingers hurt. And have a moment of truth, sort of. Alright, so oh, the counter's buttery. I forgot about that. Son of a gun. I'm gonna lean on this counter. I've done it for how many other episodes I've done this. I'm gonna do it again. It's my comfort place. That's how I ended up burning my arm. because I leaned on the counter. All right, so Grandma's peanut brittle recipe. Okay, so you see it right there at the top how translucent that is? My mom has told me stories about this peanut brittle and Grandma Marguerite making it. It's supposed to look like that all the way through. Like the entire thing is supposed to be that. Sirens went off. It's supposed to be that, like, where you can see through it. It's reverse, sorry. So you can see, like, through it. I have no idea how she did that. It's so hot. Like, obviously, because it was at 300 degrees. But even after, like, I let it cool down just a little bit, it was still way too hot. Even when near the end when I was touching it, it was too hot. And it's not that I wasn't trying to I was trying to push it, but it was also just because it was already hardening, and it also was so hot. Have I told you? It was hot. It was... My hands are hurting. I'm not stalling, by the way. This is gonna taste good. It's got bunches of sugar in it, but here we go. Oh. It's like magic. This is really good. I suddenly got really nostalgic for something I've never had before. I've never had this peanut brittle recipe. This is like... It tastes like Christmas. And you're like, okay. But like not just Christmas, but that's the closest thing I can put to it. It feels like... Okay, so I have 5 older siblings and 2 parents, so there's 8 of us in the household. This tastes like everyone is home and we don't have anything to worry about. We're just hanging out. Everything is right with the world. It's just so... It's just warm and sweet. And food can't be gentle, but this is like... I'm crunching it because I have to, because it's hard candy and nuts. But it's just gentle. It's just like, hey, have some sugar. I feel like home. Which is a very dramatic thing to say, but it tastes like Christmas when everyone's home. It tastes like a little bit like my favorite coffee that I get from my favorite coffee shop in where I'm from. Tastes like a very warm hug when you just need a hug. Like a good long hug where you don't say anything. You don't really need to say anything. You just hug someone. I really don't want to make it seem like I'm overplaying this. Like, something about this specific peanut brittle recipe. They're so comforting. Oh, the sugar is now hitting my stomach, and my stomach is like, yeah, this is not... You can't handle sugar the way you used to. It's just... Oh, even my paper towel is getting sticky. It's just simple. It's simple and sweet and warm. It tastes like summer. When the grass is really, really green. And it's finally warm enough that you can take your shoes off. There's a little bit of dew in the grass. And there's that one anthill that always comes back every year, even though you guys try and get rid of it. It's right next to the clothesline. I'm turning over the stepping stones to see the bugs. Not to pick them up. Not to touch. Just to be like, oh, what bugs are down here? Sweet ants and worms. Maybe a beetle or roly-poly. It also tastes like 3 feet of snow. And you're bundled up in your sweatpants, snow pants, and your boots. And you put plastic bags on your feet before you put your boots on, because it keeps your socks dry. And of course you had your hat your cotton gloves, and maybe a scarf, but you never really appreciated scarves because it was just too much. And despite having plastic bags on your feet and 3 layers of protection, you were still wet and cold. You came inside, you took everything off on the back porch. You go in the kitchen and stand on the heat vent, which, by the way, would come on, I think it was about every 10 minutes for about 5 minutes. Not maybe every 10 minutes, but I know it was on for 5 minutes. And that included, like, turning on and then shutting off. Not just the heat, the whole process was 5 minutes. Anyway, you came in and you stood on the heat vent. Then your mom made you hot chocolate. Because she didn't buy store-bought hot chocolate. She did the 1-2 milk, but you didn't know what the secret was back then. It's that same cocoa your mom used when you had tea parties, and the tiny, tiny little china set. I don't know if it was china. It was at least porcelain, because I didn't like tea. The first tea you had was an orange tea with sugar and milk, and it was really good. Anyway, I did not mean to get so nostalgic. I could continue to go on, probably until I had class, but I don't know. And there's a combination of things that went into this trip down memory lane, but I like to think it's all the peanut brittle, not the fact that I can't go home and I live in a constant state of what in the world is happening. It's fine. We're fine. We have peanut brittle to remind us in the simpler times. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope this very chaotic episode was entertaining in some capacity. And I will see you next time. Maybe not next week, because I recorded this at a whim at 12:20 in the morning. I don't really have a recording schedule right now, and I probably won't figure one out until the end of the semester. By the time I figure it out, I'll have a new schedule. So anyway, this has been this episode. Feel free to not interact with the video, and I'll see you another time with another unboxing video. Bye. I don't want to clean up this counter. Can you guys clean up the counter? Thanks.